Got a little Klingon for us.
I'm trying to think. Remember this from memory. Halo Moth, Pak Jajvam.
No, Mrs. Marlin is in, so that's good. Julie made it.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
What are we doing? Are you working today, Julie, or are you at home?
I'm at home. I'm just looking at the stuff that's going on and on X and within everything else. I'm reading, researching, and just waiting for our window guy to come later. So that's about it.
Exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting. So if you need help, I can be here though. I am just hanging out.
Nice. Well, might be the word distraction, but there's so much of it. I figured for people.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna just put a couple of things in the bubble, but things to highlight is they'll show that the guy out in California that beat to death that 69-year-old veteran that was had the Trump flags at his house. Of course, he refused to leave his cell for the trial to whether he was guilty or not, and to plead his case. And so now the judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation. So he'll be on the street. Stay tuned. Watching closely whether there'll be riots. I mean, apparently, the defense for the Carmelo and Anthony trial, the defense was just horrendous, and the jury was just like awestruck at what nonsense they were spewing, and the evidence against this kid is just so overwhelming. I'm waiting for the riots. Apparently, they are all set and ready. They have, units all over the place, but you know how these things get organized. So that should be interesting, something for everybody to watch, because if you live in that area, you better be careful. And the guy that stabbed the 5 people in Penn Station, of course, he was an African illegal from Africa, and he was let go in New Jersey for stabbing somebody here. So there you go. Those are some of the updates I have, and I will be putting everything in the bubble today.
Yeah, all of the above. Distraction, 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 right? Yeah, I can. Go ahead, buddy.
I know this is going to be a question out of left field. Does anyone know where I can get a bulk amount of rubbing alcohol? I'm trying to stock up on some cleaning supplies for electronics, and Amazon's got a few things, but I wonder if anyone knows any other places too. I know, odd question for the first thing in the morning. I apologize.
Isn't it like either Sam's Club or Costco or one of those big things? Don't they bulk and all that crap?
I know Sam's Club though. It's been a while since I've been in there.
Yeah, it's not that they would bulk that kind of stuff of truth. That Sam, it would be huge, bigger bottles, tinfoil. I mean, you could get a few of them if you need them. I don't know what you need them for. I'm not trying to be nosy, but you can go to those places and get just bigger containers, so you would need less of it. In bulk. You know what I'm saying? Like where you would get a case of smaller containers that you would get at a regular pharmacy or food store.
Yeah, okay. I'll check that out. As for the use, basically, it comes in pretty handy when you're cleaning like laptops and computers. Sometimes it's really useful to clean off the sticky stuff from labels. If you're trying to peel a label off, it's also good cleaning screens, just devices in general. I use it for kind of almost as an all-purpose cleaner in a way. Um, so, and it's like today, I cleaned off the keyboard rests that had the rubber feet on the bottom of it. The repeat weren't missing. I don't know where they're at. So I went and cleaned that off because I want to order some rubber feet for my armrests and try to pair that. And yeah, just general cleaning.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd go to one of those places, the big box stores. If you were looking for something that is going to be less containers, but it's going to be more, content or whatever, more stuff. So it would be bigger bottles. If you want, go there. This way, you don't have to get cases upon cases of smaller bottles.
No, everybody's quiet. Doesn't seem like anybody wants a dang mic. Come on up if you got something to talk about. More distractions, because that's all it is all we're seeming to get.
Right. And don't the primaries start today in South Carolina? Get Lindsey Graham out. That's a big story that's going to be developing and one to watch, see what's going to happen with that whole thing. A lot of people, even though he was endorsed by Trump, I don't think he should win. But here's Mad Dog. How you doing today?
Good morning, folks. I'm going to do my usual spiel when I get into a room. Go down to the purple pill, like, share, and bookmark this space, get it out there so we get more people in here. This has become one of my favorite rooms. Tinfoil and Julie, they run a great room. And with the comedic tinfoil, and I mean that with all due respect. I love the Klingon metaphors, and I'm an old Trekkie. I like the old stuff before it went woke. They just took that and they drained it, and they've done that. Hollywood, Disney, or whatever, whoever owns the franchise, it's taken good shows and just whoa, they just you get hooked on them, and then all of a sudden, boom, you see a couple of guys kissing, and it just kind of takes it away from me. Anyway, I'll land it there. Good morning, everybody.
Morning. Getting a slow start. Marlon is going through an inspection on one of his jobs, so he can't be doing this morning. So he'll try to jump in here, I'm sure, and lurk in the bottom and not take a mic, but we'll see. But I just noticed it says the ICC's chief prosecutor, Kareem Khan, has been suspended. He's a British lawyer famous for issuing arrest warrants against Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, and was suspended apparently following a sexual misconduct probe. So more distractions, folks.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are, in the forefront. There's things that we have to worry about. I don't know if you want to talk about a truth, but I saw the posts from I don't, it wasn't Casey who was posting it. I forgot who was the post about the what's that worm that's coming to the United States there?
Is it called a spearworm?
Yeah. And they're saying, ivermectin is the treatment, and the cattlemen in the United States are very diligent about checking their cattle every single day for any little bits of injuries, which is how these things get into the cattle. They if there's a cut that is on them, and they get in that way, or the screwworm, or if it's a baby cattle, they can get in through the umbilicus. But these farmers or ranchers are on top of it. So I think they're trying to scare people. Again, as Truth would say, another tactic. They're trying to scare people. This is not this is not another country. This is America, and they're diligent about checking. I actually was riding right by a cattle ranch the other day in New Jersey. It wasn't a big one, but they were out there. I saw the rancher, and I don't know, his ranch hand or it was a family member. They were out there looking at all their cattle. So, and this is just a small little operation, but I'm sure that they're on top of these things.
Well,
So how do these things spread? You know, I mean, they don't like grab a plane flight to the local cattle ranch and, say, hey, there's a bunch of cows here. Let's have fun. And, go over to the next one as they have to get around somehow. Does anybody know?
All the stuff coming in from foreign countries. Yeah, flies, of course, is how it spreads. But just believe you me, I don't believe for a minute that it's not planned, that it's not inorganic, so to speak. The big four have manipulated markets for decades, and they do this kind of crap and have plants shut down and all strikes or the prices of feed or the prices of oil. It's just it's one constant thing after the next, and it's not the first time this happened. So
And also, I mean, could it also be truth that too, a lot of it is just scare tactics? Like it's not as bad as it really saying it is. Maybe there was one, cattle, one or two cattle that were found with this, not like, there's mass craze that they're trying to stir up. That's, the other thing that I think we have to look out for is that they're going to weaponize this, thing.
just distraction after distraction. But I mean, it is real. In the '70s, I think it was the last time, maybe even the '80s. There was a bunch of cattle that got infected that they had to, eradicate. I don't know what the word you want to use is proper, but So again, it's just it's one distraction after the next. I'm like, I'm at my wits end, quite frankly, with all of this stuff because it's just one thing after the next. If this doesn't work, let's do this. If that doesn't work, let's do this. But anyway, I just want to say good morning to Terry. Thanks for coming up, bud.
Hey, good morning, Drew and Julie. Yeah, it does sound a little scary what you're talking about, doesn't it?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just came on. I assumed you were talking about the screwworm outbreak down in Texas or the two
Yeah.
out. Yeah, they eradicated that since the 60s, but all of a sudden it pops up just weeks after Brooke talks about breaking up the Big Four.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, start putting the puzzle pieces together. Like, there's a. I don't know if people really realize how powerful the quote unquote big four companies that uh, basically run 85% of all of our cattle, how powerful they are, and how much money is involved with it. 2024, 96 million head of cattle came from America, and basically can feed the entire world. But of that 96 million head of cattle, 85% of that wasn't given to us from here in America. The meat you're eating is mostly from foreign company or countries that you have no idea what was put into it, where it came from, nothing. So it's a huge problem. But yeah, they manipulate markets. You're talking trillions of dollars, trillions, not billions, not millions, trillions. It's a huge industry, huge. It's a tough one to talk about because there's so many aspects of it, right? And I mean, it involves so many other industry. It involves, of course, trucking to move the cattle and then feed, corn. Obviously, it involves the oil industry if you've got the trucking to do it because they have to have fuel to take them places. Then you've got the retailers where it actually ends up. There's a whole bunch of industry in just one thing here.
The beef industry is the single largest um, agricultural industry, surpasses everything. So they don't want to miss that profit. They don't want to miss out on it.
Well, not only profit, but controlling health, you know, all these things that they're trying to mandate that you have to, use certain chemicals or whatever the hell it is. And they're trying so hard to push this mNRA vaccine into cows, all behind the Dr. Evil himself, Gates, and all the other pieces of crap that are involved with that. Ranchers are definitely saying, no, hell no, we're not going to do that. But some, not all ranchers are saying that. Some ranchers are so desperate because they've been, lied to and cheated for decades that they're broke. Most ranchers that I know, and we talk to thousands of them because of the American Rancher Alliance that we're working with, but most of them are in debt, like heavy debt. The banks will loan the money because the banks know that once they sell the cattle, they're going to get the money, but they're just constantly behind. Go ahead, Dan.
That's why a friend of mine actually had this idea where I don't know if she's in here, and I hope sometimes she'll come in here, sometimes she's in another one. Um, she got her rancher that she goes to how she come on X, and she introduced him to a couple of friends, and before he knows it, he sold out. He can barely keep up now because he's got so much business coming in. And she made the comments like how maybe they should start coming on here because it seems like there is a very big demand on this platform for local source meat. And I'm kind of in agreement with her. It's like I think that'd be a way to kind of get started, and then the demand can grow from there. Because let's say, for example, if I buy one from here locally, then I tell my mom about it. She buys here locally. Then I tell my brother about it. He tells his friends, and before you know it, the word will spread. And maybe that's how we can get some of these ones that are desperate to kind of change tracks, but also save them in the process. Uh, just one idea.
Right, but the convenient factor, right? Where you should be able to go to the store because everybody's used to shopping at a big grocery store. So you should be able to get whatever you want from there from local farmers and whatnot. And you can't. So you have to go to the local farmers. But the amount of there's so many factors to the industry. Look, I've said it before, but there's three kind of main phases of cattle. You have the cow calf. It's the first stage where the cows are born, and they raise it to a certain weight, and they wean the calves off of mama, and then you have the next stage, which is the backgrounding stage, where they start to put the weight on the animals, and then the final stage before they're processed is the finishing stage, where they add on the final weight to those animals. So these three main phases of ranching. There's a few ranchers that can do all of the above, but the amount of feed and all that kind of time that it takes is a ton of money that they're forking out daily. We're talking thousands, depending on how many head you have, to tens of thousands of dollars a day to keep that going. So a lot of people will sell off from the cow calf when they get to a certain weight, and they're basically when they're weaned, then they'll sell their cattle at that stage, right? So the backgrounder picks up that cattle, buys it, now it's their cattle. So now they're adding weight on it. And then when they get to a certain weight, then they're going to sell it off or go to the finishing stage. Or so if they sell it off there to a finisher, then the finisher is putting on the final weight, whether they grain feed at the last minute or continue with grass, and then the finisher sells it essentially to the processor. Then the processor sells it to the retailers. That's where the big money is actually that last process. But for years, ranchers never see that. So the cow calf person, when they sell it, that's it. They don't see the real profit of when it's sold to the retail. If I'm making sense here. So if you So the whole thing, like with the American Rancher Alliance, they're trying to make it to where even if you're a cow calf or you're a backgrounder or you're a finisher or you're all of the above, when you get to the final stage of the processor, who then sells it to the retailer, those profits, the real money, they want to kick back to the ranchers all the way back to the cow calf person. That's where people finally start to make enough money just to sustain themselves, not just get by, but actually make a little bit of profit so that they can essentially grow, right? But that's not how it goes. The processors, the ones that finally get it to the retailer, that's what we talk about when we talk about the big four. They're the major four companies that own most of the processing. And their retail, when they're selling it to retailers, they're mostly selling our meat overseas because overseas is willing to pay top dollar in order to get the best beef in the world is our beef. I hope I summarized that enough so people kind of get the gist of all the processes. Sorry to go on. Go ahead, Tim.
Um, here's one way we can kind of look at those processors if they don't want to take care of their home country first. So if you're selling food for top dollar instead of their country that you reside in, that means you could be possibly supplying the enemy, which could technically count as treason. See where I'm going with it?
Now you're getting it tinfoil. This is why we keep telling people this is an actual national security issue. People don't seem to understand that, but you're getting it. That's why we keep trying to tell people like this really is a national security issue. When you have four huge companies, two of which aren't even from this country, that are controlling our meat supply and controlling the pricing of it and screwing the ranchers over by not actually giving them any profit. Sorry to cut you there. Go ahead, Tim.
No, you're fine. For the ones that are having a hard time following, just think of it this way: when you're selling meat, the good quality meat to top dollar to these other countries, you're feeding the people there, which most are military age men. You need protein to build muscle. That's what a lot of these bodybuilders you see on social media that are totally ripped and like really buff is because they're stacking on protein. Well, the most richest sources of protein is your meats and your poultry, especially eggs. Um, so if we're selling the good quality stuff over to another country, you're basically building up those military age men. And if they are against this country, well, now we have a fighting force that we have to contend with. Well, at the same time, we're getting poisoned, so a lot of us are not in shape and the fighting ability. So in a way, we're weakened. So it makes it easier for them to take over our country in a way. Uh, so that's how it becomes a national security concern, and that's something that definitely needs to be dealt with.
And that's again a summary of what Miss Casey has put together, the American Rancher Alliance. And the weird thing is, as much money as is in the industry, she and all the people involved, they don't actually give a damn about how much money can potentially be made. They care about our future, and in fact want to give the profits back to the ranchers so that they can continue to do this. We make enough beef here in America to feed the world. We essentially do feed the world. But the priority should be Americans first. We shouldn't be eating slop. We shouldn't be eating crap that we have no idea where it came from, what was put in it. Because, the mRNA vaccines that they're trying to push here in America, well, if Americans won't stand for it, that's great. But what about the other countries that Dr. Evil freaking, Microsoft idiot continues to push this stuff in other countries? Anyway, sorry to go off on that, but
Is it? I'm trying to remember. My dad used to be really studying history about the Civil War, World War II, World War One, and I remember in one of the documentaries I heard that if you want to take down the other side, there's military strategic goals you have to hit. You have to hit the food supply, the supply chain. And there was one other one I can't think of at the moment, but I know the food and the supply chain were the two main ones. And back then, during
It's comms and, communications
uncom,
and energy and power,
because back then they were attacking the train lines to disrupt the supply lines between the south and the north, and then they were attacking the food supplies to starve out the soldiers, and they were going after the messengers to stop communications. And that's the main ones they went back during the Civil War, because it was a Civil War documentary that he was watching and just happened to be listening to it. And so if you do it through if you do it the way they're doing it now, it makes sense because it's subtle, it's not obvious, and by the time the people realize it, if we didn't find out as soon as we did, by the time we would have found out about it, it'd been too late. So this type of warfare, I mean, it is dirty, dirty, dirty. No, it's all in there.
Well, that's why I kind of titled today's thing about distraction. So this is a real issue. This is a national security issue. Our meat supply, it really is. And people can try to say it's not, but it is. But what are we bombarded with every day? More BS, more distraction. Like Julie put up the thing about the trial today, the Anthony Carmelo or whatever his name is. Distraction. We all know he's guilty as sin. He killed a kid. Cold blood right there. Guilty. Duh. But what are they doing? They're trying to, again, throw the racism thing, make hatred, and anticipating a bunch of protesting, all this kind of crap. Distraction. Is that really important? Sure. To the family that lost their child, absolutely important. But what's the bigger picture? What's going on here? Keep us distracted with stuff like that, and then we don't see the real things that are going on, right? I hope I'm making sense.
No, you're making 100% sense, Truth. It's just there's so much, and that's literally how what they have left. If you want to call it the deep state, the people that want to ruin this country, this is what they have left. They can't fight wars. Wars are not fought anymore really by with guns and everything. They don't have that kind of narrative. They are losing on the front of just the group that they've aligned themselves with. So yeah, this is all distractions, all meant to keep us looking one way and not the other way while things are happening. Like I said, there's primaries starting in South Carolina today. This guy up in Maine, oh my gosh, it's like this Graham Plattner. Now it's come out that not only did he get that Nazi tattoo on his chest, this whole um infantry, whatever that he was with in the when he served, got the same tattoo. You're telling me this was they all had PTSD and that they didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, okay. The oyster farm that he had is not an actually a business. It's a hobby, and his mother is really the only person that is his client. And but it's a distraction, right? It's all these distractions. Let's focus on that, and then there'll be more elections that'll be stolen somewhere else, like in California. Things are going on. It's just it oh gosh, it's what they say, keep your head on a swivel, man.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So Terry, I saw that you did put something there from Abbott, freaking Rollins. Who every day I'm just really more and more not liking Rollins at all. I think she's just a shill. But I didn't get to read it. What did you get the gist of it, Terry?
What I saw, they were basically addressing the screw rooms. There's a lab, I guess, in Fairville, and they're, I guess, trying to ease fears. But it is a national security concern because, I mean, it's the largest. I mean, that's the largest thing in the Department of Agriculture is our beef. So let's say if the big four, two are foreign owned, what would happen if, listen, I'm just making this up, if China bought Brazil out and decided not to sell it to us anymore, all of a sudden we can only provide 50% of our supply. We talk about problem at that point. To Julie's point, there's always a distraction, and your point too. It's no coincidence that we had the Save America Act vote on the same day the New York Times dropped that big bombshell on Graham Plattner. And by the way, Julie, wouldn't you think if you're putting a tattoo on your chest that you know you're going to have for the rest of your natural life, you might want to know what it means? I don't know.
Oh, just maybe.
There's going to be more shoes dropping from Graham Plattner. I don't know who vetted this guy, but you talk about a train wreck for the Democrat Party. I saw the interview where they asked the lady about the tattoo. She really didn't care, but then they said, "What if it was an Israeli flag?" Oh, I'd have a problem with that. I'd have a real problem with that.
Right. So again, distraction after distraction. I hope that people start to recognize these patterns. You know, you have to have discernment. Discernment can only come from God. I'm sorry, you can disagree with me all you want. But if you have no morals, you have no sense of morality, then how can you discern? You don't know what's right or what's wrong, and that's what's going on in society in general. Is just bombard us with just bullshit after bullshit of information that's useless, quite frankly, so that we're so confused. And you know, Obama gave that speech regarding that, you know, how to take down a society. He was telling you exactly what he was doing, get people so confused, throw so many lies out there that you don't know what's true and what's a lie, right? And then most lies are based on a little bit of truth, so they twist it and turn it. And so here we are constantly in this distraction state of mind to where you don't know what to believe. And again, if you have no basis, if you have no sense of morality, you don't, you know, morality is just thrown out the window, right? So we're so confused. It's a time of confusion, right? And then it's also a time of revealing what's real, what's not. We see the line now is pretty drawn as far as good versus evil. I mean, it's always been that, but now we're really starting to see it pretty blatantly, right? So again, that's why I kind of titled today. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all the distraction, and I read my Bible every single day to try to gain insight and understanding and knowledge and wisdom that again only comes from our Creator. You know, but anyway, go ahead, Mad Dog.
You're spot on that. We do need God back in our society. I don't understand the lethargic pushback that we've had uh, in watching God taken out of our society, and but we did it. We just sat back and let it happen, not let it taken out of our schools, out of our books, and you know all this satanic stuff coming in. But with the information bombardment that we've had, this is why I try to live by, to the best of my ability, the Bongino rule of, you know, hey, wait 24 to 72 hours for a story to digest before you jump in and get on board with it. You know, look at the sources, you know, vet these stories before you start pushing them out as real. And anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh yeah, man. I see so many posts of this is happening and that's happening and conspiracy theory and blah blah, and then some things that are true get the comments or the remarks. What do they call it? Where they try to say this is wrong information, but then the stuff that's wrong information doesn't get any of that. The notes. What are they called? The community notes. Yeah. Just it's like, oh my god, what, you know? And then you ask Grok, and Grok's not perfect. It's of all the AIs, I prefer Grok, but remember, AIs are programmed by people. You know, so whatever the people feel is right or wrong, or whatever is what they're going to tell you that AI is going to tell you. People have become really dependent on this whole AI thing, which kind of blows my mind. How stupid are we? How stupid has mankind become, or how stupid do they think we are? To where we're so damn lazy. You won't like who goes to a library anymore? I love libraries, but who goes to one? Do you have a library in your town? They've pretty much eliminated a lot of that stuff, so people don't even go to actually read a book. How many of you actually read books? Most of us read stuff or have stuff read to us on these damn apps. People have become complacent and lazy, so it's easy to manipulate us. Oh, sorry, I'm in a mood today.
Even that,
Truth. Sorry, Terry, go ahead.
I am so sorry, Julie. I'm sorry, Julie. My mouth isn't working either. You go ahead.
I was just going to agree with Truth, and but that's what they want. They want nobody to go in and research really what's going on for real and find out the truth. And they then if they take away libraries and they take away your ability to read because they're making it so easy, and they're telling especially the younger generations coming up, oh, that it's just so easy, just go ask AI, Grok it, chat GPT it, do all these things. That you're going to take the ability away from people being even smart, just knowing what to do. And then this is what we're gonna have for the future. And they already tried to take out cursive writing out of schools. Thank goodness the Trump administration put that back in. But they try to take all these things out. They're trying to erase the history. They're trying to take it out. They did that when they knocked down the statues, because they're trying to erase history, trying to make like it never happened. So what is the best way to make all that go away? But by people just going and looking things up via AI or doing that, and then it's manipulated to say things that you wanted to hear. It's not something that's factual, So yeah, I totally can see that, Truth. I can see why that's happening.
Well, again, it's manipulated. And then I watched an interesting thing where a guy was testing AI and asking him about spirituality, asking him about God and what is the real truth, and all these kind of things. And it was really interesting. He finally got it by questioning the AI. To the AI itself admitted that Christ is king and the only answer and the only way, which is really fascinating that it would come to that conclusion. But, based on all the information that was given to it, but it admittedly said that the Bible that is uploaded to it, that it will start to change it just one word at a time, little here, little there, to where eventually they'll rewrite it. And that's just the Bible. Think about all of our history in general, right? And how it's manipulated, and people have a misunderstanding about what the Civil War really was about, and Revolutionary War and all these kind of things. So they're in real time trying to rewrite history. And history is his story. Whoever won gets to tell the story. I wonder 100 years from now what the story is of what we're going through now. How the story will be revealed about Trump and the deep state and all. You just never know who's writing this history and who's going to be the record keepers. The real record keepers. That's why I love the Bible, because that was something that, they were adamant. All the different scrolls that they found, they all match word for word, which is amazing. Over thousands of years, that it wasn't changed, it wasn't manipulated. Now you have different translations, of course, depending on which word is what and all that kind of stuff. But man, I just get fascinated. I'm fascinated by the human condition. I'm fascinated by all this kind of crap. But when you take morality out of it, I mean, even our founding fathers said that the assumption that a people of moral character, this constitutional republic only works if you have people of moral character serving, right? Anyway, gosh, go ahead, Tinfoil.
I was gonna say, I know the way people can kind of keep history uh, to kind of preserve it. One pastime, and I'm sure a lot of people do partake in it because it's a private deal, but keeping a journal, journaling, scrapbooking, even is one way to kind of keep history, because that can be passed down to family member to family member to family member. So that's kind of one way to keep history.
Well, yeah, it used to be the oral passing down. You look at Native American uh, history and culture, everything passed down through word. And man, anyway, oh, we could go in so many different directions here. Again, we're so distracted with so much crap. It's like trying to focus on one thing. Um, you can't really. Well, there's only a few of us up here. Go ahead, Terry.
Just listening to you and Julie and Tim talking about this, I started thinking backwards. Before the internet, before we had our phones with the 5G and the technology and the data centers, if we wanted to know something, we had to go to our home computer at that time, which was a World Book Encyclopedia set or a Britannica set. Like if you wanted to know how an engine worked, or if you wanted to know what the population of Zimbabwe was, you had to open up one of those editions, one of those books. Now we've got the entire world in our hands as far as knowledge is concerned. And to Julie's point about how information can be deleted, think about that. I can see how libraries could possibly diminish the actual brick and mortar books because George Orwell had a famous quote in his book 1984, which was, "He who controls the past controls the future," which is probably a reason why Hillary Clinton had that private server for the year she was Secretary of State, was so that if she mucked something up, screwed something up, she could delete it, all knowledge of it, so that it wouldn't hinder her run for president. So I think it's very important that we have some type of documented ink to paper record system so that these deviations of what's really happened, mischaracterizations and things like that, or just an all out deletion of information in the data age as we move forward. Because if we don't actually put a pin to it, what assurance do we have it actually happened, if that makes sense?
It does because databases, again, you can manipulate them. I mean, we're in a constant battle. I've run a bunch of different sites and servers and the whole nine. And, you're in a constant battle of people hacking into it and changing your data. Data is kind of the big commodity right now. And I know Tim can probably add to it, but you said something and I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say, one thing. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you guys remember. Remember back in the '90s, when computers were coming popular. We had any kind of storage medium you could think of. We had like zip drives, jazz drives, tape backups, external hard drives, build your own external hard drives, DVDs, CDRs, mini disc recordables, floppy disk, super disk. I mean, we had so many different forms of media. Eh, but now all we have are USB drives, external hard drives, and the cloud. And it's like it feels a lot more. I'm trying to think of the term here. Claustrophobic, I guess you would say, when it comes to technology like that, because it's harder to store your own data now than it used to be.
Well, the cloud, quote unquote, man, what a manipulative whole thing that is because they make parts and hard drives very expensive nowadays. It's really expensive. And so, okay, let's just pay for a service to have your information stored in a cloud, essentially, which is essentially a hard drive somewhere, some machine that you don't own, that sure they give you access to, which they can shut down at any time. So any of your information that you're holding on a cloud, don't think of that as secure in any way, shape, or form, unless it's your own cloud. And there are lots of open source software things that are out there to help people create their own cloud on their own servers. A server essentially is a hard drive. You can have like advanced servers, but just like your computer or your phone, your device you're on, it has memory in it, right? And your storage space you kind of fill up with apps or pictures or whatever the heck it is in there. that's your information. But if you're connected to any kind of cloud, now that your information is now anybody else's information, essentially, who has access to that cloud. Oh man, I know we can go off on this, but so that data, people need to protect their data, and people don't understand how precious to the big conglomerates your data is. Things that you do, things that you say, things that you look at, that's all recorded. Unfortunately, you don't have any access to it. Every time you use Google, which is the most evil entity, I believe, out there, they control 95% of the world's information. The world goes to Google to get their information, and they store all that information all across the globe in these different hard drives. Do you have access to that? Can you say, hey, where's my information held? How come I got this advertisement when I was just talking about this to my friend, and now an ad for what I was talking about shows up? You got to look at all the fine print of when you use that, their terms and conditions, their privacy act, all that kind of stuff. It is crazy. I see Janina came up. Go ahead, Janina.
A lot of those old mediums, because I remember having to do this is how I'm really dating myself now. I remember having to do daily tape backups of all my information. And then those were placed into, a, an anything proof box where they couldn't be erased or manipulated. They were locked up. Now you only have a few options, and one of them is cloud storage, like you were just saying, Truth, but they're easily erased or corrupted. So they're directing you and able to erase anything that you had stored. Think about that whole premise as well. It's very easily corruptible or erased.
Yeah, those are good points. It's very corruptible. And erased, it's just mind-boggling. It's like, for example, iPhone got rid of the headphone jack on their iPhone as it went through different generations, and they claimed that because the phone was too thin. Well, it turns out the next generation was actually thicker. Well, it turns out the headphone jack business is actually a $15 billion a year industry. And what did they come up with? The Bluetooth, what is it, the earpods, or you know what I'm talking about? So it's just things like that start to make you wonder. Before long, we're just going to have a computer with no port other than just the power, because they want to control everything. All of our pictures we upload to cloud, just everything, will be out of our control.
Everything is kind of out of our control. We think we control it right now, but unless you have your own private server sitting in your home and you have your own access to the internet, that's not, again, controlled by the ISP provider that can shut you down at any time, you're at the mercy of whatever the heck you're using. Be really wary of any of those big conglomerate uh, uh, cloud storage things. Always back up your computers constantly with your own external hard drive in your house. Back up that external hard drive again, so you have a backup of a backup. There's a lot of ways, but there's so many different softwares that you can use that are out there to where you have control over it, like Dropbox. Oh my gosh, so many people use Dropbox to send files back and forth. Dropbox has access to every single file that you put up there. iCloud, if you have an iPhone, they have access to all of your photos, whether you hide them or not. They have access to everything. That should kind of freak people out. Not so much if you're not doing anything illegal, you're not taking weird things. I get it. You got nothing to hide, but the fact that it can just be taken from you at any time or manipulated. I mean, the people that use the face recognition on these phones, I refuse to do that. No freaking way. Or Siri, to where your voice, you talking to Siri. No way. No way. Uh-uh. I don't want them to record any of that stuff. I don't want them to see my ugly face to begin with. You know what I mean? Anyway, go ahead. I think it was Jeannie and then Miles and Tinfoil.
Good morning, everybody. So, my girlfriend asked me what I was doing today, and I said, I'm cleaning house. I'm doing a very deep, deep clean because I figured out that I need to get myself in order before I can do anything else. And it's been very beneficial because it really helps my brain wipe away a lot of these webs that have formed. I'm sorry, I got a call. What is most important is that we all are arriving at the same point at the same time, which is I had a discussion and I've been watching what's been going on in healthcare, and there was a story that came out that made me want to puke. And it's everything wrong, everything that's wrong with healthcare. It's the same thing with everything you're talking about. You've got a lot of people running amok in our systems that don't have a moral code. End of story. And so I've been contemplating the people that I have found on X. Not all of them. A lot of hackers, a lot of bots, but you still find the people who have that moral compass. And I really think it's up to us because if you go outside of the space, that's where you see all the crap, right? So I told my friend this morning that what I'm going to do is nursing, for an example, is just a shit show. So is becoming a physician. It's all just a shit show. But no one can stop me from educating, right? I don't need a license to educate people what I read in the book. It makes no difference to me. And I think that people can understand that and it'll help them make their own decisions, right? But nobody can stop me from educating. But after everything I've been through in the 6 years of being censored and deleted and deplatformed and starting over, I'm waiting. I'm not going to put anything out there of substance until I know it's secure. And I even have a pastor friend who says, write old school, pen, paper, because we are at the brink of losing everything because of this distracting world in which we live. So I just wanted to agree with everything that Matthew said. That's it.
Let's go through calls. 10, 11.
Morning, everyone. You know, it's interesting who calls the elections. It wasn't the election board in LA, it was the AP, Associated Press. So the AP comes out and says the noodle lady, Ramen, she's going to move forward. So kind of reminds me of 2020 when some guy walked on the set and said, yeah, Arizona goes for Biden. So as far as, tracking us and stuff, unfortunately, the only thing that I get ads for are poo bags to pick up at the dog park. That's all I'm doing lately, going to the dog park and picking up poo. So I guess that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, okay. How do you follow up? Who? Go ahead, Tin, and then Matt.
I'm an adult. I'm an adult. I'm an adult. I'm an adult. Man, that's a crappy situation. Sorry, I can't help it. But anywho, oh, sorry, it just got me on that one. Um, but I remember trying Siri once. We were talking about that truth, and I had to turn it off because I started getting into an argument with it, and then randomly I would hear it start talking, and I was like, no, no, I already do enough with paranormal stuff. I don't want that going off by itself. I get creeped out enough, so I turned it off. But uh, there are some things you can get to have a server at home if you guys want to go through the full building a computer and stuff. They have what they call NAS, network attached storage. You can find them on Amazon, and all you gotta do is put a couple hard drives in them that are meant for network storage, and just go through their little setup process, put it on your network, and you can share files within your network locally. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. I just want to point that out there. But I gotta drop down, guys. I got a work meeting coming up here in a second. But it was good talking to you guys.
All right, Ken. Have a good day. Thanks for coming up. We'll go to Mad Dog, and then I guess we have a new speaker I've never heard before, Yasmin. So go ahead, Mad Dog, and then we'll go to you, Yasmin.
Too bad Tim's dropping down. I was going to ask him if that actually works. I'm an adult, to keep you from spewing out something. Anyway, that series thing, I'll be sitting around talking with some friends, right? My phone's on my clip on my hip, and we'll be talking about fireplace inserts. And I'll go to the computer and I'll start looking stuff up. And what do you know? Fireplace inserts. I never searched for it. I did not search for it once. How the hell does that come up in my feed when I was just having a random conversation with somebody, and now I see all these fireplace inserts that are not a common thing for people to be, for somebody to be advertising. It's really bizarre. Yeah, you're right, Truth. This AI and what they see and what they hear, I think your phone's listening to you all the time, or something is. They're
Oh,
just
it absolutely is, Mad Dog. There's no question. You got to read the fine print. The phone is always listening. Every single conversation you have, if you're having it next to your phone, it's being recorded, guaranteed, 100%. Keep going. Sorry.
well. So why can't they, find these protesters and stuff that are doing all this damage and catching these criminals? I don't get it. They found the J6ers, no problem. But all these other nefarious characters out there that are doing things and they're searching for. Anyway, I'll land it.
Yeah, no, they're definitely finding people, but you're bringing up a good point. It's just again, it's all distraction. It's all a big game. All right, so I've never heard from Yasmin before, so welcome to the space. What do you have for us?
Hi, Truth. I was just wanted to follow up on the data, and I agree with most of the people in here that we don't have like there's no place that our data lives in that it is safe. That everything is not safe. Cloud is not safe. It's everywhere your data, and I think that like right now we're on X. People are like public people just listening to us. The app itself is listening to us. The AI on X is listening to us. And we are not just doing that. We're actually feeding the information. Like if you go to AI to um, ChatGPT or any of these things, that you're giving them the information. To be honest, you're giving them information about yourself. You're giving them what you prefer, what you want to, what you're thinking. So it's collecting that information. It's just personalize it on you. And it's the same thing with apps. If you go to TikTok or X, it's just they take your information and then they send ads in your way, because that's what you're looking at, what you're, that's what you're watching. Now, what's interesting is that, yes, there is people, actually, there is apps are listening to us, and sometimes they're opening the camera on YouTube. So you don't have that control over the camera or over the microphone, because other apps are listening to you. What I've found interesting is, and I heard it from a couple of peoples before, is that sometimes you're not having a conversation. Like I heard a lot of people here saying that, you're having a conversation and then you're seeing an ad related to that conversation. Sometimes, and this is crazy for me, is that I'm thinking of something. I'm not having a conversation about anything. I'm just thinking of something. And then you're seeing it 2 minutes later on TikTok or on X, or on any other, platform. And that is really the technology is really got to a scary place, that it can predict what you're thinking of. And for me, to be honest, I don't care if they have my data. I'm not an important person. I'm not holding anything crazy or dangerous. For me, what matter is the consent. Like they are taking this information without the consent, and then they are selling it to third parties, and they're making money out of it, or they're making other things other than money. And that's what bothers me is that they're not telling me, or they're telling me in the agreement, but that agreement is so freaking long that I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to say accept, accept, accept to get it into a specific app. So I don't have that control. And that's what it bothers me is that I don't have control over my information. I'm not going to, for example, complain about, yeah, they're taking my information. Okay, they're taking my information. I don't have anything in my life. Like I'm just a very ordinary person. But they did not let me know. They did not let me know that they're going to listen to my phone calls. They're going to open the camera on me. They're going to sell this data to anyone. And that's what bothers me the most. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming in here. Followed you back. I appreciate what you're saying, and I completely agree. So, I have a company, and what we're doing is trying to create a platform that is controlled by you. So, we're starting kind of as uh, um, another offering, just like GoDaddy, where you can buy a domain name and then you can have your hosting. So we're trying to do that, or not trying to. We are doing that. It just takes a long time to get it done, to get that option, but we want to be as open as possible so people know where their information is going, where it's held, what server, and that give the user complete access and control over that. And we're also doing our best to develop a alternative to Google, where people again can search for things and whatnot, but have the option to either let it track your history or not. That's your choice. And if it does track your history and kind of records that, so it kind of helps you in search, that's essentially what Google kind of does. But they do it in such a nefarious way. You have no control over that. And sure, they give you options that you can try to find in your settings and all that kind of stuff. But like you said, reading through all the fine print and the lawyerese is really tough to do. So why not create a search engine that you, the user, have complete control over, right? And then the advertisers, if you've noticed, a lot of the advertisement, especially like if you go down YouTube or even Facebook now, you try to watch a video and then they throw an ad in there, right before your video is done or whatever it is, right? So they make their money off of advertising. That's how the television industry was making their money. It was off of commercials. But then TiVo destroyed that whole thing. So now everybody's going on the internet. Nobody really has television anymore because everybody can fast forward through the advertisements, which they spend billions of dollars every year to advertise, right? So these people, these conglomerates like YouTube, like Google, they make their money still off of advertisement. Okay. So then how do they advertise to you? Well, they listen to you. You gave them permission, unfortunately, by saying yes, 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 to listen to you. So they're trying to say, oh, we're not nefarious. We're just listening so that we can help you find what you're looking for. Right. So again, not having control over that, not having access to that, your information, my information, everybody's information in here is stored on multiple hard drives all across the globe. And you have no access to it. You can't delete it. You can't say, I want out, I'm out. So we want to create that so that you can have access, complete access to it. You know exactly where your information is. You can erase it at any time. That's the ideal. That's where a lot of this open source software, the trend has come to where, hey, everybody has access to it. Unfortunately, you always have nefarious characters that are going to try to, have back doors to go into that. So this is a definitely a real issue that we need to, as we the people, as sovereign beings, need to and want to utilize technology, but have complete control over how it's used against us. I hope I'm making sense, but I really appreciate what you're saying, Yasmin.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I appreciate that. I mean, I do, I would love to know more about the what you're working on. It would be great. Because you know, for me, it's sometimes I'm just changing between like applications, like going from X to TikTok, and then all of a sudden you see that green dot on your iPhone comes on. That's a camera. That's someone turned on the camera on me. I did not turn it on, and it would stay there for maybe a couple of minutes or less than. Actually, not a couple. That's a long time. Maybe 30 seconds, and then it would go away. But someone opened that camera. Someone had the control over my camera on my iPhone, which is something I'm supposed to have the control over. So there's a bunch of things that's just out of control, to be honest. Most important, and maybe something that people need to put in their mind as an advice, like don't feed the AI everything about you, because that's how they are tracking you, knowing everything about you. And the AI is just another way to get into your life and know everything about you. And most of the times people's like, oh, that AI knows everything. Well, you are feeding it. You're giving it the information. So that's how they know. So thank you, Truth. I appreciate this space. I love talking about data. So thank you.
So do I, 'cause it is the hottest commodity in the world right now is data. And yeah, I'll keep everybody informed. I mean, it unfortunately it takes a long time for development, and it's just myself and a couple other friends, and none of us are getting paid right now. Which, you know, you work on something because you're passionate about it. But eventually, I'll put it out there, and I want to make it to where people can trust it. I'm just one guy. Nobody knows me personally. You know what I mean? Especially on these apps, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face anything, and you can either take it for face value or not. So we want to make it totally open to where there's like a camera that shows where the actual data is stored. You know, give you full access to it. We're trying to work through it so that people can believe it. You know, people say things, but do you really believe it? You know, which is a whole other thing. But Miles, go ahead.
Truth, you ever heard of Creato? You ever heard of that word? Means create, Creato. These guys were trying to do the same thing that you're doing. They even talked to Trump. Trump wanted 51% of their company, and they said no. They had some major investors. They were trying to do the same thing you're doing. I even invested, but yeah, it's defunct. So after that, I just kind of decided I'm going to pray that the right people are in control and use this technology in the good way to get rid of criminals and RICO. And they just, you know, sure, we'll get advertising, but they won't bother you because I'm just going to the dog park. So, yeah, it's been tried before. I've never really brought it up to you because I hope that you can do it, but to set up your own server network, even if you're doing it just for the U.S., it's a monumental task, and you need a lot of money, and it's going to get corrupted, and you won't even know about it. So, you know, what did we just find out? That oh yeah, we took a whole bunch of Bitcoin from the bad guys. I thought you couldn't do that. So I wish you success, but if you want to talk to some people from Creato that tried to do it, I can hook you up with them. So
Yeah, I know what a task it is, and anybody who's connected to the internet, unfortunately, you can be hacked. All of us that are on the internet, and that's kind of the catch-22 about it. That's where firewalls and security issues and software and blah blah blah. It's a lot. It's a monumental task, and yes, unfortunately, it's expensive. But you start small, begin with the end in mind. You know what I mean? You start small and you slowly but surely grow as long as you're doing what you're saying you're going to do, and people can believe in that and trust that, and it should be run essentially from the people, not from some big conglomerate. I don't want to be some big conglomerate. I don't, money, I could give two shits about money, quite frankly. You need enough obviously to survive, but my goal in doing this is not in any way shape or form about money at all. In fact, with the people that are involved with me, we've all agreed that we want to donate the majority share of everything, except enough to sustain and keep the thing going, but of everything to helping my fellow veterans, to good causes, to helping children, keep them safe. Just there's no point in making profit. Like, when's enough enough? People that have tons of money, and I've had it before, believe you me, and money really is the root of all evil. And people think that that's going to be the answer to their problems, and it's not. It actually creates more problems, believe you me. The more money I made, the more I just had people out of left field just coming to me. Oh, I got this and I want that, and let's do this. And then, family, gosh, family will do to family what strangers would never dare. That's the unfortunate truth. Do you have something else there, Miles?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of David Hawkins?
Man, I'm so bad at names. Sounds
Okay.
familiar, but
Well, he's no longer with us. He was old when I started to, follow him and listen to him. So back in the day, I mean, some of the stuff that was coming out of his mouth was just like, are you kidding me? Are you making this up? But that was like, what, 5 years ago. And now I'm going, holy crap. He was probably right on a lot of this stuff. So back in the 70s and 80s, when they were setting up these networks, he was involved in that. That's what he told everybody. He was a tech guy, and they were laying double cables. They were laying cables for us and cables for them. And I was like, well, when I didn't really understand all the money they were stealing, I was like, well, that would be really expensive. Well, no, money's no problem for these people. So evidently, now this is the crazy stuff that he said, that they have like a dead pool. Do you know what that means? That they bet on how many people are going to die. So these are the elites. So they bet on different events and how many people are going to die. And he said that when they were laying cable in New York, they already knew that they were going to do 9/11, and they were betting that day. They were sitting all across the world watching it and betting on how many people were going to die on 9/11. And I thought, that's crazy. And I don't think it's so crazy anymore. So,
Miles, is called actuaries. That the people who do that business for businessmen. The actuary is actually the one who predict how many people are going to die. And then they feed that into their whoever the client is. So actually there's a whole, like, even they teach that in college, how to be an actuary. So yeah, I 100% believe it, because that's a job, that's a full-time job as an actuary.
a lot of craziness. The world is evil. So once people get that and understand that, then you can come to peace with it when you know that the end of the story, we have the script. God does win. You got to believe that. You got to know that. Oh my goodness. All right. Lots of stuff we're covering today. I'm seeing a bunch of people putting some stuff in the bubble. IC is putting all kinds of stuff in here. So if you got anything that you want to share down there in the bubble, please do. People put lots of good stuff. I'm horrible at asking, but if you all do the old like and share, it helps other people that can't make it now be able to listen to us in the future. So that always helps. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
You beat me to it, Truth. I was just going to say that. I did post something in the Purple Pill. Gunther Eagleman just posted that we're projected to win the House. That doesn't mean that we sit on our butts and don't vote. We still got to get out and vote. But it's encouraging. I just like to post positive things every once in a while.
Right. We need more of that. Yeah, and then you wonder if they this whole thing in California, which I knew was going to happen, that Spencer Pratt is going to be knocked out of it, and they say they're only counted 70%, and that there's 2.6 million more votes that need to be counted, but somehow Spencer Pratt's not going to get those any of those 2.6 million votes that are yet to be counted. I mean, come on, man. You wonder if they're just allowing this to happen so that everybody can blatantly see the fraud so that they can do something about it. There's just so many things distracting us constantly. Anyway, good morning for those of you just joining us. Marlon is unable to host today, so here I am. Hopefully you guys continue to support Marlon. He's going to try to be back tomorrow to host himself to give me a freaking break. But come on up if you've got something to share.
Well, I was thinking about this internet stuff we were talking about, Truth, and I blame Al Gore. He invented the internet. Yeah, and then he went on to become a world famous meteorologist, made billions of dollars on that. I blame him. I blame him.
Al Gore, what a goofball. Does anybody ever take that dude seriously? I mean, come on, man. He tries so hard. He's just so full of shit. Go ahead, Rusty.
Good morning. So have you guys talked about that whole Carmelo Anthony trial or whatever?
A little bit. I mean, it's just.
That crap is a mess. I'm gonna tell you what, that is a mess. There's so many lies that's running around on that. And I'm gonna tell you what, for the first time in my life, I'm like, if I ever got in trouble and I needed a jury, I mean, I don't think I'd want one black person on the jury. I'm just being some of the oh my god, like I never really realized the hate runs so deep. Just the stretching I'm seeing, a lot of the FBA influencers that I call friends on Twitter, they are reaching so hard to excuse this. And I mean, like, there's just like no excuse. I mean, hell, even their own witnesses turned on the Carmelo kid. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Some people need to get right with God or something. I don't know. They need to get their heart right, because this I don't know. This is a mess. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, again, it's about distraction, about keeping people against each other, about, all these kind of nonsense things. Brandy, let's go to you. I know Miles had his hand up first, but he's talked. So let me hear from you. Good morning.
Good morning, Truth. Hello, Julian. Mr. Bill. Now I just think of Bill as the name that comes to mind when I see Terry's profile. Oh my goodness. We all need a little bit of a laugh and a breath or two, don't we? So, wow, Rusty. That case is just blown wide open. That's not what I came in here to share, but I actually have been watching everything Sarah's putting out on that trial, and I don't think it's a surprise to any of us. Those of us in Texas that have been hearing the talk and what was there as evidence and what wasn't, we all knew that there was not going to be evidence of him attacking. So I'm grateful that it's playing out the way it has. I just want to make sure justice is served no matter what that looks like, right? I want to make sure the truth comes out, and it's definitely coming out. No one has swayed from what they say occurred. Every single witness sounds the same from what Sarah's saying. So obviously, that is the truth on it. Um, I definitely think no matter what the case, whatever comes of the case, we're definitely going to have backlash regardless. And I think everybody just needs to keep their head on a swivel. Absolutely, this was something that was horrific. And I don't understand these adults, even, right? Trying to make excuses. I know if I ever claimed self defense, I better make sure that someone was having to someone was truly coming after me and I was literally having to retreat for my life. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to come of that. I just hope that we don't have too much backlash, but Texas, I mean, we know what we're preparing for, so who knows. But I don't want to go on too long about that. I do want to say that real quick, I do not want to take away from this space, but I just want to ask everyone to start praying now. There is a 10 o'clock meeting. We're about to open a prayer space right now for Annalise. There is a 10 o'clock meeting this morning. That is all we can tell the public. A 10 o'clock meeting that is very, very, very important. One of the most important meetings they've had so far. So I just want to ask everyone to be praying, especially at 10 a.m., that Annalise does get what she needs and she is able to be moved to a hospital that can take her and give her back the life she deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I sorry has stepped away. The guy that's going to be replacing our windows came here, and he's actually a good friend of the family. So, anyway, I apologize. But yeah, Brandy, and my prayers are definitely with you. I also was telling Carmen, and I don't know if you saw, Wake Up had put out a post. We have a very similar situation here in New Jersey, although, like I said, laws are different everywhere you go. I'm not going to sit here and say I know anything about Texas laws when it comes to organ procurement and all that kind of stuff, and taking somebody off of life support. I just know what goes on in New Jersey, and we do have a young child who was actually at baseball practice and got hit with a baseball in the neck. He's been on life support since May 26th. And the family's wishes are not to remove him or not to do anything like that. So he's still fighting for it. It's been hush hush especially because of the bull crap that we've got going on in Delaney Hall. They're distracting everybody with that one, but we are closely monitoring it. They lit a lot of bridges for him the other night in blue. It's been in the forefront. Like I said, I know as being a respiratory therapist for the 32 years, if somebody's at a hospital and they're not happy in New Jersey and they're not happy with their care there, or they don't like the doctors there, or whatever reason they want to move, as long as there's a doctor accepting in another hospital and there is a bed available, they can be moved. The only thing that they might end up having to do is to pay for the transportation. Also, the patient has to be stable enough to move. That's the only thing I was saying. So I know you've been holding a lot of spaces about this. Like I said, I don't know anything about what the Texas, is different, obviously, than New Jersey. But I know that's being closely monitored. And right now they are not pushing this family to do anything that they don't want to do.
Quite a few hands up.
I would just want to say one more thing if I can, Truth, and then I'm going to get out of y'all's hair because I got to take that space. When it comes to organ donation, guys, she's not an organ donor. So that's one of the things we wanted to say as well, please. And first of all, as well, I've only held 2 spaces, one on Saturday morning for prayer, and we're about to open another one for prayer. We're not holding spaces for information. And here's the reason. They don't need our input, guys. And I want to say, please, with all due respect, everybody just stop the extra talk if you're not involved in it, because she's not an organ donor. We all know what they can make on that and all that stuff, but there's a lot of talk going around that's going to actually hurt the family in the long run. There's also been talk that they're going to Ronald McDonald House when she gets transferred. Guys, they don't even know where she's going at this point. No, we don't even know that a Ronald McDonald House is available anywhere. It's family who I am in direct contact with through someone else that's talking with them, and they're telling us what they need us to do. So I just want to say, please, everybody, just stop with the extra rhetoric that's being talked about, because you don't know what's going on in the back channels with this family, and we just do not want to hurt her chance of getting out of there safe and getting to somewhere else, because she is still in their care. So we've got to think about that. Okay, I'm gonna be
You're
quiet.
correct, Brandy, and I apologize. I had heard that in another space, and there was an uncle of this child that was in this space, and they were talking about it. So that's the only reason I said it. I don't know
That
what's
wasn't
happening.
to you. That wasn't to you at all. No, you're good. Thank you, Julie.
Miles, Rusty, and Mad Dog.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. When we're talking about crime and how they're going to try to eliminate most of it, there's certain things we can't stop, no matter how much data that we have on somebody. So you're talking about this Carmela Anthony situation. So in 1980, I was working with a guy, and they were at the movie theater, and they were just talking softly. Guy in front of him stood up and stabbed his friend in the heart. For what reason, he doesn't even know, because they maybe were talking during the movie. So this kind of stuff is always going to happen. But I think how we can combat that is just on a higher level of spirituality that we have to achieve, that we wouldn't do stuff like this. Control your emotions. So a lot of this stuff is just going to happen, and we can't stop it for right now. And the only other thing I wanted to ask it was anybody from KC here? I was watching really bad storms going through Kansas City last night. I haven't heard an update on the damage.
Yeah, I'm sure they can come up and say I haven't been paying attention, but definitely lots of praying is needed from everybody. Go ahead, Rusty, and then Mad Dog.
Yeah. It's just that Anthony Cormello thing. I mean, like, you know, you can say all you want to, but it's a race thing. If it wasn't a race um inspired killing, it's turned into a race thing, right? That's what kills me. It's just like the shit's never gonna end. It's like I don't know. It's just like it's never going to end. You're going to have some people that's going to be excited. They want him to get off. They'll see it as another. I mean, like, look, you just saw what happened, like with the OJ stuff. The some jurors that were on that case just came out and finally admitted it. Yeah, we pretty much thought it was kind of like, back pay or something. So yeah, we let him off. I mean, like everybody knows he did it. That's ridiculous. He even wrote a book. I don't know. It's really getting to the point to where it's freaking disturbing. Like you never know. Like the next time I need a doctor or something like that, if they're black, do they hate white people? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Do you start asking them? Are they going to be honest? I don't know. I mean, you see stuff like that on videos and stuff where they're talking about that too. Oh, they were white, so I double charged them. Or if they were a Trump supporter, I would. That's really real. We like to think it's not real, but yeah, those people are out there. Those godless, soulless people, racist people, just because the color of your skin, they're out there. And like, how do you? I don't know. I don't know. And then how do you prepare your children for that? White people have to have those conversations with their kids. I mean, we're going to have to start having those conversations with them. Like it's okay that you're white. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel bad that you're white. I know your teacher is telling you something. I'm really to the point now where I'm fed up with it. I'm like fed up with it. This is bull crap and I'm fed up. Good morning.
Well, we all are, but again, this whole racism crap is the most manipulated and used thing to divide people. And again, that's why I titled today's space Distraction. It's distraction. What are we not focusing on? What are we not worried about? What are we not talking about? We're going to be wrapped up in this. This isn't the first time this kind of stuff has happened. It's not going to be the last time, right? So, it's just distractionary crap. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
So if Carmelo is found not guilty, are you going to see rioting in the streets, burning of towns? No. No, we'll be pissed. We'll say, what the hell? This is wrong. And we'll probably say it really loud. We're not going to burn and tear things up. That's not how we roll. And what I mean by we, I'm talking about not the agitators that are out there to divide us. They just need an excuse. So if he's found guilty, they will riot, burn, and do whatever they do because it's an excuse. And they'll hold his picture up at the ICE protests or whatever you want to call those things. But anyway, is Brandy the one that's holding the space with Right Side Rebel and the father from Oregon that lost his daughter? Can somebody answer that? I was trying to talk to her before she left.
So she's holding a prayer vigil for, forgive me, Julie, help out.
She's holding a prayer space for the little girl in Texas that was the near drowning that the hospital is trying to remove from life support. But the family. Annalise. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. I'm great. How are you, Julie? Hi, Truth.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, good morning, Jen. I was going to actually come to you since you took a mic. What's on your plate? More distraction for us?
Yeah, more distraction because you see what's happening in California, and I think, and in some of my conversations in the background, this whole California thing's going to blow up, and then in the sense of what's going to happen come November, right? Is there going to be a pause because the cheating is so profound, and we've already seen this. So I think accountability, we're going to finally see it, everybody, and then the whole mortgage bond thing is about to blow up, as well as these school bonds. So the financial world, these are all. So I think a lot of the stuff out there that we're talking about, and we're seeing, is a lot of distractions. Although yes, it is real life. We're living it. But also too, this is what's about to come out, and then you see everything going on with Iran. It looks like they might be coming to a deal. So, yeah, it's unfortunate about this, Annalise. Everybody, pray, pray, pray. It's a sad, sad story. But if you do a lot of research on these children's hospitals, wherever you're at, whether it be Houston, Phoenix, wherever it's at, all these children hospitals, they're very, very nefarious. So, but yeah, her situation is just beyond mind blowing. So keep the prayers up for her, but also to just remember what a lot of the other stuff. 2020 isn't over, guys. I think this election thing, and with Tulsi Gabbard and Tina Peters is about to start making some appearances and talking. We're going to see a lot of stuff start blowing up in a good way. The stuff that we've been waiting for a long time. But yeah, the distractions are real, everybody. It's happening. But I think we have a lot of positive things here in the very near coming days.
And if you see Donald Trump, our president, does he look at all worried? Does he look at all distracted? Does he all at all like? Nope. He looks total 100% confident on everything that's happening, and even what they tried to do. He was booed outside of Madison Square Garden because they had paid protesters out there, and then he was totally cheered. They were chanting USA inside the stadium, and then they tried to superimpose that booing from the outside when the national anthem was going on. Do not believe it. He is loved. He's been in Madison Square Garden before even any of these idiots knew what Madison Square Garden was. So, they can say all that they want, but it's not going to matter. It's not.
Well, also
something-
too, watch what he's posting, everybody, because again, many of us, including myself, we tell you some of these shows to watch, right? Some of All Fears, Wag the Dog, because it kind of tells you where we're at, where we're at here in the end. He's been posting Nessa Dorm, that song. That's the song they play at the end of Some of All Fears. The end is here, and then the post comes out with John Jr. and him, 1999, sitting on the floor watching a Knicks games, and the post is back where we started. So, there's a lot. Really, guys, I'm telling you, watch Donald Trump's True Social, because I think you'll get a little bit more peace in what's going on. Then there's just there's a lot of circling. People are just talking about the same stuff, and they're not moving on from what really is happening. Although real life, yes, is happening, but also too, we have the distractions, but we have really what they want us distracted from happening as well. So really pay attention to his True Social, you guys, because I can't say it enough to my audience. He's really telling you without coming out directly telling you, and he said it yesterday in his presser that he had. I think it was like at 8 o'clock in the morning, or whatever, East Coast time. He said 17 three times, and he also said, I will never, and I've said it before, give the enemy our next move. I can't tell you because our enemy knows. So he's not going to tell us. So but he gives us the crumbs to kind of go look and research, right? If anything, this movement has made us all become self-thinkers, researchers, and think for ourselves and our discernment, right? But they're also testing the waters of the public on how ready are we to actually finally see, not hear, but see. Sometimes you have to show the people the truth, because when people start seeing it hitting their pocketbook, and I do believe what we're going to start seeing when it comes to this is going to start in California, not New York, and then it's just going to be a domino effect, and we are all going to feel it. So you need to get prepared, whatever way that is. Not necessarily, I don't know if it's going to be the grid or what it is, but they're talking a lot about this financial world. It's about to burst, and we are going to feel it a lot, everybody. So pay attention to the school bonds and these mortgage fraud bonds that Mark Taylor comes out and talks about, because I'm telling you what, it's about to explode, and we are going to feel it. So but just hang tight, no fear. I mean, it has to explode for us to go into the new, right? So we have to feel a little bit of the pain, everybody. But if your mindset is right and you're ready, then you're going to be okay. But if you're not, then you're going to be scattered. That's why many of us do what we do, is to help people get on the other side of what is going to happen. Because we're not invincible to stuff that's going to come happen, but we will feel a little bit of the pain.
Well, just to remind some people that may be listening when you said Wag the Dog, she's referring to a film that if you haven't watched it, if you can grit your teeth through watching De Niro, the moral of the film is what you need to pay attention to. It's really well done to tell you the truth about all the fake stories, the fake media, and how they spin and create wars or fabricate anything out of nothing. So I highly recommend watching it if you haven't watched it, just to help Jen, for people who might not know when you make that reference.
Thank you, Truth.
Well, I mean, to people that have watched it, we get it. But anyway, go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, I forget. There are new people coming into this. So yes, Truth is 100% correct. And also too, everybody, watch The Blacklist, because I'm telling you what, The Blacklist basically told us everything we are living right now. My jaw is down to the floor, because I never really watched The Blacklist, but I'm watching it now. They talk about the children. They talk about the viruses that are man-made, it talks about Bitcoin. It talks about everything, you guys. I'm just like, okay. Yeah, they told us.
Oh yeah, no, the Blacklist is definitely a good series to watch. Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, Jenny, do you know what the words to Nesidorma is? Do you know what the story is?
Nesidorma?
Yeah, what's the story about? What is the opera about? What are they talking about?
What I know about Nesidorma is it refers to the end is here or near.
No, that's not what it's about.
Well, that's how they refer to it in Some of All Fears. That's what I'm talking to. I'm not talking about
And
the
I
song
don't think
itself.
I know, but I don't think the song is connected to the sum of all fears. I don't think that's the scenario that's going to be played out. Yeah, they used it in the movie. Okay, I get it. But if you listen to the lyrics, just like the snake poem that he reads all the time, you have to listen to what the words are. So, guys, what this story is about, there's a princess and she's beautiful. And if you want to marry her and have her hand in marriage, you have to solve a riddle. And if you don't solve the riddle, you die. So there's a guy that out there, let's say it's Trump, okay? He has solved the riddle. And he, in the morning, he is going to get the prince's hand. And at the end, it says, in the end, I will win, I will win. So that's what this story is about, is that he has solved the riddle of the bad guys and he knows that he's going to win in the end. So, but I don't think it's going to play out a scenario like in the movie where you're going to see all the bad guys be taken down and there's going to be some giant scare event. And but I understand why he uses that song all the time, because we are going to win. And he knows that. He's already solved the riddle.
Well, Miles, I just want to also say that, and Jenny, to your points, that one thing I've kind of forgot about is we have Maduro. And as you know, the Dominion machines were used for his rise. So he's going to be a key witness, I think, in all of this. And everybody's kind of forgot about Maduro a bit. But there's a saying that Abraham Lincoln had. It was right is might, is only 3 words, but right is might. And Donald Trump has a lot of right on his side, because wrong can only go so far until it's called out. And once you start to call it out and you put sunshine on it, then it starts to shrink and wither. So we have a president who was a victim of a lot of malicious prosecutions. Boy, I can think of a million people I could probably make mad, but he would be probably the one person I wouldn't want to make mad. I think he's got this. I think he's getting all the chess pieces lined up. And then when he starts to taking pieces, it's going to get pretty intense. But I think when you think about Trump, when he did that interview with Crazy Eyes, Kristen Welker, you don't have any evidence to support there's fraud. Well, first of all, fraud generally doesn't come knocking on your door and say, hey, I give up, you got me. Remember how they reacted when he said Obama tapped his campaign? The media lost it. Well, it turns out that he did. And then when he said this whole Russia thing is just a big hoax. Oh, it can't be a hoax. It's all in the media. Well, it turned out it was a hoax. So he's not always right. He's just seldom wrong. So it's going to get a little dicey and spicy here, but I think we're on the right side of this. What do you think, Jenny?
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. And to my point about Nest Dorm, if you talk, you see some of all fears in the Q drops. It refers to it. I'm telling everybody to watch Donald Trump's posts. I mean, he's telling us in ways that he feels like he can tell us to like go look at the crumbs, right? So winning, the end is near. And no, I'm not saying that that's how all the criminals are going to go down. I didn't say that at all. I'm just saying pay attention. And what many of us have been told is that the end is near. And yes, Donald Trump talks about winning, winning, winning all the time. Talks about it in the Q drops as well. So that would make sense as well as I mean, we are close to the end, I do believe. And my point is, watch Donald Trump, because he is really giving us a lot of just a lot of information on what's happening.
Right. One being that post trust the plan a few days ago. It's my way. Right. He's thinking, he has a pulse of the people, and he can kind of sense, people are a little, hey, this is kind of, I thought maybe we'd see more arrest or whatever. And he's like, hey, just trust the plan, trust the plan.
Well, and I do believe a lot of these people behind the scenes, because there's so many indictments and each one can contain up to 99 people. A lot of them already have, been somehow apprehended, or maybe have seen their fate. Who knows? We'll eventually see that. We may not get to know all, But there's no way in hell that they just started this 20 minutes ago with all these indictments sealed. They've been working on this for a while, and and Donald Trump has already told us it's done. It's already done. We've won. So, and many of the people I talk to too, a lot of this is done. If you listen to Phil McConnell, if you listen to 107, this is already done. Everybody, hence why we say we're watching a movie. We're watching it scene by scene by scene. Each scene, if you notice, it's like a 2 week span. The drones, 2 weeks, everybody freaked out. We had the whole Minnesota thing and that Renee Good 2 week span, 3 week span. It's like you see it. The hantavirus, where'd that go? The ticks, we're still seeing a little bit about that, but not as much as we were seeing it. Like it's like you see it for a hot second, and then it's gone on to the next distraction. So, I mean, our great president Donald Trump is telling us what's up, everybody.
Yeah, I see where it had hands, but it's just like, we saw the hantavirus, then we saw Ebola. What happened to Ebola? Notice that's kind of, simmered. But
Exactly.
right. So on the Kristen Welker interview, the best part of the interview was when he threw that mic down and he stood up and he stepped
on it.
Now, I don't think that was by accident. This is how smart Trump
Oh
is.
no.
The only thing missing was his grinding his shoe left, right to really just grind that microphone into the pavement. I think that was the only thing missing. But I think we haven't heard from, unless there's anything else you wanted to say, Jenny. I was going to go to True MAGA. We haven't heard from him yet.
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead. You're good. Thank you.
Hey guys, good morning. Just a little news. The oil reserves, the global oil reserves are getting pretty low. It's like 7.7 barrels 7.4 billion barrels by July. And they say it hits tank bottom, which is a key thing. I guess once you get to tank bottom, it's all like crappy. You can't pump it anymore. And you're pulling up all kinds of stuff that destroys the filters and stuff. So, and that would be 6.8 billion barrels. So that's not too far away, 7.4. And then they're talking about closing that Bondar Strait too, which would be just disastrous I want to know what you guys think about that. And then I want to ask Truth, let's skip the fact that Iran might get a nuke. What if they did have a nuke? What do you think we should do?
You want to know what we should do if they have a nuke?
Yeah, because Redacted News was reporting all kinds of weird stuff, like Russia's sending them parts and they're building multiple nukes and stuff. But I was just like, what do we do if they actually had a nuke? Would we back off or would we? I don't know what we'd do. I just want to get your opinion.
Can I address this to Truth?
Yes.
Look, pay attention to what Trump says. He said 100 times that they can never have a nuke. They can never have a nuke. What does he really mean? Does that technology even exist? Look at all the scams they've run on us, saying we have this, we don't have that. They're lying about everything. I haven't seen the evidence that we have nuclear weapons. Have you? Have you seen a nuke go off?
No, I mean, I'm on your side. I think. I mean, I was starting to believe like Hiroshima was like a napalm bomb or something.
Yeah, it was a lot of bombs. And look what they did to Tokyo. And there's people living there. There's life on Bikini Island. There's not supposed to be life there for 1,000 years. So these guys are great at lying about everything and running operations to make a bunch of money to like, oh yeah, we have to have all this stuff. So give us all your money. And it's maybe not even real. So I'm not even worried about that. But
Well,
can I
about
go ahead?
running low on oil. We're overtly abundant in oil. So that lie's been told from day one to control prices and everything. That don't believe it for a minute. We can't run out of oil if we tried.
And water too, True. Don't forget about the water.
Yeah.
Well, I did raise my hand for one thing. I know you're going to get mad at me, but look, Trump has to lie also. So I want you to pay attention to him, but he has to lie about stuff. So that pilot story. That was a story, guys. You don't send all that equipment in for one person. I think they were trying to get whatever they were trying to get from Iran. They sent a bunch of equipment in there and it didn't work. It was a failed operation and they can't tell us that. So, because it was Pete Hegseth came up with this plan or whatever. So they made up this story about a pilot. Have you seen the pilot? Do you know his name? No, you don't. They made the story up, and otherwise they'd be parading him around. Yay, we saved the lone survivor. It was a story, guys. So he does have to lie about stuff.
No, Yasmin is funny. She put down there for the example of what we were talking about, all of our phones and devices listening to us constantly. We were mentioning the TV show Blacklist, and she's like, it just showed up and appeared in the first thing when I opened up the car. So, that's comedy. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
That just happened to you, Truth?
No, to Yasmin. She was up here talking earlier.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just wanted to chime in on a four-letter word, fear. Ever since childhood, we were taught to be afraid of nuclear weapons to the point where we were supposed to crawl under a desk as if the desk was going to protect us. It was used to control us, to make us look like idiots hiding under a desk that would evaporate along with us if we were at a nuclear event. I do believe the technology is real, and I hope this is the one time in decades that we were not lied into another war. But I don't know. And all I can say about that fear is fear can be used to control us, to make us do stupid things. And our best bet is to not live in those fears, because what good would living in fear do if it never happened? It just creates anxiety and stress. And if it does happen, I won't have time to be afraid. So unfortunately, I have to trust these powers to protect us from this level of energy. That's just my take on it. I kind of like that scene in it was the Taken series by Spielberg. All the other kids were under the desk except for the one, and he said, "We're not in a military target zone, and any bombs that would go off would be downwind. So why live in fear?" That kind of helps me question certain things. I'll drop the mic there.
Well, if anybody's saying that this, or if you want to call it this engagement in Iran, I don't think this over there for false pretenses, I can just call 100% bullshit. Iran has been a thorn in everybody's side, the entire world, for almost 50 years. So Trump's just going and finishing a job that was never finished because they allow that stuff to, again, give excuses on why to do this or that. So we need to be there. It should have been done a long time ago. And it's not the Iranian people. The people are good. I know lots of people from Iran, and they're good-hearted, good family-oriented people. It's the regime of disgusting animals that get off on killing people and causing war and distraction and hatred and all of that. So we should have done this a long freaking time ago, and the job needs to be finished. That's my 2 cents on that. Go ahead, Nathan. Haven't heard from you. Then we'll go back to you, True Mac.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for bringing me up this new account. My last one got hacked. Yeah, I think everything is more nuanced than we see. You know, you look at Iraq. We were obviously lied about that, and they were retrieving ancient technology. You know, Gilgamesh type stuff, and Iran. That area is also where Solomon's temple was. So I think there's a little bit to that going on. I'm not sure to what extent, but then they always lied to us about everything. And look, we're paying the Taliban. You got Al Jawani, who's now the president of another country, who is the leader of Al Qaeda, and the Mossad is heavily inside Iran for a very long time. And so I wonder, how much of this is the intelligence own services own making, so we could justify this or that, and they don't care about any human life, whether it's American, Israeli, or British. These globalists, they play these games, and we're just the pawns in all of their schemes. If we're hurt or lose our home or suffer in any way, they don't care, because it's the people at the top. They just care about money, and they fund all of these terrorist groups just to create the means to the ends that they want. And the cartel as well. Obama was funneling weapons to them, and the CIA is part of that too. Look at Iran Contra. How much do we know? I mean, we just know about Iran Contra, and look what they've done to our education, lowering the standards and targeting the Black community specifically to be more destroyed and broken. And then now we have chaos here in America. I think it's not just in America. I think it's globally that these intel agencies are just playing God and corrupting the entire world just so they can justify getting more resources to fill their pockets. That was it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Nathan. My multitasking. Couldn't get back to the mic. I was like, where am I? All right. Go ahead, True Mega.
Yeah, just to remind us what you're saying about why. Well, when they say Iran, I mean, are you? Well, I'll get to that question in a second. Let me just remind you all this stuff. So, 2009 Fort Hood shooting, 13 people killed. 2013 Boston Marathon, 3 people killed. San Bernardino attack, 14 people killed. And that was a detailed attack, the holiday party. 2016 Orlando nightclub shooting. This is terrible. 49 people killed by Omar. 2017 Manhattan truck attack. 8 people killed. He drove into pedestrians. I mean, so that's maybe what you're saying is why it's important to go at Iran.
I'm not sure who that question was posed to, but I just want to go back to something that was mentioned. And we all come up to the speaker and the stage and bring our opinion. I personally believe that our nuclear arsenal is real, our triad's real. I believe that when we dropped that bomb on Japan, Hiroshima, and then we dropped it on Nagasaki, which caused the emperor to want to surrender. I think that's real. I think the photographic evidence is real. All the casualties are real. I think that those submarines, those Ohio-class subs, do have nukes, or B-52s, or B-1s, or B-2s. So I think it's a real science. I will agree with Joe that having our kids get under the desk is probably the dumbest thing we could have done for protection. But hey, what else did they have back in the 50s and 60s, right?
What's last thing happened out in New Mexico? Trust me, it happened. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thanks. Tulsi Gabbard was trying to expose the MK Ultra project, and a lot of those files were taken away. And there's so much advances since then that we don't even know of. Like, the stuff we know of is maybe 20 years away from what the government has that's still classified, right? And then you have Yuval Harari talking about how humans are hackable, and that we will not have a choice in what we purchase or how we vote. And then I, that's his words. So then I wonder, what about these shooters? Are they specifically targeted to create the narrative they want to take away our guns, or pit us against one race against the other? and things like that. I mean, and again, you know, it's like they introduced crack cocaine to the black communities, and look at the destruction that just that alone has done, and how much more things are they doing to all of us? Thanks.
Sorry, every time we talk with Nathan, I'm so bad. Oh my goodness. Anyway, all right. Well, let's see. I'm gonna actually start to close this space in just a bit here. Like the rest of you, I've got a life and I've got a lot of stuff to do and lots of programming to do. But let's get some final thoughts here. Go ahead, Gen X.
Hey, good morning, you guys. One, if anyone has a link for the ivermectin detox, I have a friend who requested that for me last night and I lost my link. So if anybody has that, can you message it to me or just tag me in a post? I'll be looking for it today. I really appreciate that. Also, it wasn't the 60s and the 70s for being underneath your desk. I am Gen X and I did that. And I grew up with all sorts of programming to have me absolutely convinced that, I wasn't going to slowly fade away. I was probably going to get killed by a nuclear bomb. So, I mean, they really had our generation convinced of that. So we just, did whatever we wanted to do, kind of didn't care. Like it was kind of the attitude of our generation of live for today and be cool and hopefully maybe we'll all make it. But, it was always in the back of our minds. And that's where I point to, for a lot of people, as isn't that how could you have such a coordinated mass effort to terrify an entire generation through programming, TV, everything that was out there for us? We just saw it over and over again, and what happened to us in school. And it's a good way to open up a conversation for somebody who may be looking at you sideways like you're crazy, to kind of say, have more of a wider field of vision and start connecting these dots because, they have been out there and they kind of have to show you in order to do it. They don't just keep everything secret. They're literally telling you before they do the things they do. It's part of their religion. So for me, I'm sitting back and saying, the verdict for Carmelo is going to exacerbate the fatigue that is already out there. Um, it's going to change how some liberal minded people are going to vote going forward. It's going to stop the equity and get back to equality, is my hope. And that we're tired of having people segregate us by whichever means they have closest to them at the time and the ones that they think will be the pressure points to put on the populace in order to manipulate them. So when you keep that in mind and you have conversations that are a little bit more like, hey, let's just pay attention, let's just look. I don't have to be angry and have a horrible opinion of anything, but let's look at the evidence and let's step back and kind of have a wider view of this and start to connect dots. And you might open a little bit more minds and hearts and hopefully change some people so that they don't keep on participating in the hocus pocus.
Yeah, and it's a lot of distraction, right? That's why I put that up there. But there is a lot of disclosure as well, and the film and television industry has been used for many, many years, ever since its inception, for disclosure. So these B movies that you never see in the theater that have these $100 million budgets and all that kind of stuff, and their conspiracy theories, it's just disclosure, covering their ass. Like, hey, we told you about it. You didn't watch this movie? Come on. Anyway, Mad Dog, go ahead. And I see Goats came up. I want to say hi to Goats. Go ahead, Mad Dog.
So the plan of the left, globalists, or whoever's orchestrating on that side is division and distraction. So your title is apropos. And once you know that, it's easy to see the little games that they're playing, the little things that they're doing, and they tried bringing monkeypox in, they tried the hantavirus, and now they're the worm, and what's next? But we're awake. Most of us are awake, and that's what's good about these spaces is we're able to get out here and project the truth of what's really happening and stand back and wait and get the truth. Uh, time is a healing thing with any story because you do inevitably get the truth. Sorry, I had a hard time with that word. Anyway, God has a plan and it's working, and I believe we're on the right side. Thank you for holding this space, Truth. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem. Sorry. Switch people out. We were out of mics. I saw that Mascara came up as well. Everybody always wants to come up when I'm trying to end the damn space. I wanted to say hi to Goats real quick. So go ahead, Goats.
Good morning, Truth. Good morning, everybody. You know, I heard you guys talking about hiding under the desks and all that good stuff for the nuclear scares when we were kids. You know, my biggest thought or memory of all that is you know, Terminator, Sarah Connor standing up against the fence and getting blown to pieces by the that's like my memory of that whole thing right there. That would be my image of what the nuclear holocaust would be like in my life.
I think of movie War Games. Hell, I'd piss on a spark plug if that'll help. Remember that whole thing? So go ahead, Apostle Carol, and then we'll say hi to Raging as well, and then we'll get True to say something again.
So I'll let you close your damn space in a minute. But I just real quick, I wanted to get in that, people kept mentioning, how they're rolling it all in, right? The ticks, the hantavirus, the Ebola virus, all of this, and they've been doing that. This has been going on for quite a while now. We've had these viruses that they come up every election year, every election cycle. There's a virus that's introduced. It's on the news, and there's all this scaremongering, and then they'll bring in a vaccination that doesn't work, kills 25 people, and they'll pull it. Well, this last time they didn't pull it, did they? So, but through all of this, and mass shootings and wars and threats of wars and rumors of wars, like all of these things that come out. Someone just mentioned right before me, I think it was Goats, said, that they want us in a state of fear and confusion. That is how they brought in and deceived everybody about COVID, was they created so much fear and confusion that people just lined up and rolled up their sleeves to take a jab. So we're very susceptible and very vulnerable to these things if they can kind of keep us off kilter all the time, always bringing in something new, something weird that happens. J6, the crazy 2020 election, if they can keep us off kilter and off balance, and then by the time we kind of regain our footing and get a little clarity to the situation, they roll in something else, always keeping us off balance. So it's very, very easy for them to do that. We are so primed and vulnerable, like you guys said, from childhood. I had to go under my desk, my desk also, right? They've kind of got this little low-lying fear and anxiety implanted into all of us, and we just fall in. As I'm not saying each person in here, there's some people in here very resilient, they don't fall for it, that kind of thing, but just across the board with humanity just falls into it, and they feed off of that. They feed off of that fear and confusion that we fall into. They cannot stand up to truth. Their machinations are not going to hold up in the face of truth. The problem is we don't always know what the truth is. Look at AI, these AI videos now. We're even starting to question whether we can even believe a video. We don't even know what the truth is half the time. So this is something I've actually given a lot of thought to over the last few years, last 2 years especially. It's just almost become an obsession of mine, and I finally decided, that I think it's time for me to kind of address some of this and give people some tools that they can use to stay, keep more clarity of thought stay better balanced overall. And I look at everything holistically, the mind, the body, and the spirit working together to stay balanced. We can't be mentally healthy if we're spiritually off balance or physically ill. Trying to keep that balance. I put out the first video yesterday. Today I'll upload the second one. They do take a minute to upload, and I do have patience to see, but I'll get it up there as soon as I can. But just trying to give people some tools, because we can identify problems all day long. We can sit here and list our complaints, the problems going on in the world, all this stuff all day long. But if we have no solutions, that also it feeds into our fear and confusion. So I'm always looking for, okay, so what is the solution? Maybe not for the world, but what is that solution for me personally, for my household? Maybe my community can come together and put some measures in place, right? So anyway, I just wanted to say I did drop that down in the chat bubble, and I have a question from the little girl that was hiding under her desk. What is the difference between an atomic bomb and a nuclear bomb? My understanding was that Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those were atomic bombs like the one that they tested out in White Sands, New Mexico. And my understanding was that a nuclear bomb is something a little different. So can somebody help me clarify that in my mind? Thank you, and thank you for bringing me up, Truth. Hi, Julie. Hi, Terry.
Hey, Carol. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was an atomic bomb too, but I don't know what the difference is. Somebody that knows that kind of stuff can answer that question for you. And Truth, did you check your DMs?
Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. I will do that.
Just one more multitask for you.
Um, let's say hi to Rigo, then we'll go to True and Jeannie. Region, you there, bud?
Yeah, sorry. Wanted to say something. This weekend is the World Cup. And while I am not a soccer aficionado of that level, I don't watch, MLS or stuff like that. Every now and then I get into Champions League to watch them, but only because they get into scuffles like hockey. Hockey's fun. Um, the United States is in the World Cup. Uh, if you're really a patriot, you're going to support the US. I don't care if we suck. I don't care if we don't do good. We are hosting this event together with other countries in the Western Hemisphere. You need to support the US team. Okay. You need to let people know, hey, it's fun to support Ireland, Italy, whatever, Latin America, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina teams. That's fine. But your number one team should be where you're from, right? That's just a fact. Support the U.S. team, please. That's what I want to say. And I want to come up and say hi, Truth. What's going on? Risha the Space. Thank you guys for Marlins and Truth Space. I don't know. I call it the American X Space now because you guys are like MySpace. We share different co-hosts and hosts. And I
It's we
see.
are the people, Raging.
We are the people. There
All
you
of
go. There
us.
you go. There
We're
you
all
go.
here. Every one of us that's in this space, we are the people.
We are the people, baby girl. And so I wanted to let you guys know. Thank you for being part of the CSN network. Apothy Carol's there. Don't forget to visit Apothy Carol's space. She's awesome on Sundays. Get your maha and maha yourselves, the way she likes to say it. And I want to thank Truth, Julie, and Terry. Great space. I always come in right after the punch bowl, and I listen to you guys, and we continue to promote you guys as much as we can and let people know you're here. It's important to get our conservative messages out there. But again, don't forget, I know we don't all like soccer. It doesn't matter. Let's just support our team, right? It's a national team. Thank you.
Well, whether you call it football or soccer, same difference.
I call it soccer, bro. We grew up, I mean, I'm a football guy, like the real football, basketball, baseball. And then hockey came in later on when I was at the university. I started really loving hockey. So there you go.
Yeah, hockey's a sport. So really quick before we go to the hands apothecary to answer your question, apparently atomic refers specifically to the process or the devices that involve the splitting of the atomic nuclei, right? Known as fission. Whereas nuclear is a broader term that includes both fission and the fusion processes. So it encompasses the various applications like a nuclear reactor and thermonuclear bombs. So that help?
Especially nuclear is a term of botany. Nuclear is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, the splitting of the atom, right? And the splitting of the atom is what causes fission. When you split the atom at the micro level, fission is created. And then that thus creates the nuclear effect eventually. Thank you. With the rest.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Truth. I knew that there was a difference between the atomic bombs that we've already dropped and the nuclear bombs that we're all, concerned about now. So thank you.
True. Thanks for your patience. And look at a genie. And I swear we are ending this damn space.
Yeah, that splitting of the atoms is insane. What are those accelerators or something? It's got to go so fast just to crash atoms into each other. I mean, somebody should explain that. It's like a miracle how they even came up with that. But yeah, I was just going to talk to when she said we're always put out something new to keep us distracted. So I made a list of Vietnam, JFK, RFK, 9/11, 2008, housing crash, COVID, mass, jabs, Epstein. They just got Charlie Kirk. We just could go on and on how they distract us. How could we ever focus, And I'll go really quick right here. So the camera thing is just a tip of the iceberg. What I heard last night, I don't even want to say. I mean, what if like 911 wasn't even from our country? Like they were monitoring everything on 911. You guys better consider that. But besides that, it could be 1,000 times worse than just one camera being looked at. So, I mean, I think it's going to come out in the next couple of weeks from what I heard last night is insane. And the main thing is the old man always told us, believe nothing you hear and half of what you see.
It's the sad truth, right? Anyway, go ahead, Jeannie.
Okay, I'm going to be the last one, but today has been a day of confirmation that we are all on the right track. The last few speakers have actually said words that have been floating in my head and very, very spiritual. And Apothecary, you said solutions. It is time to focus on solutions. And that is exactly the same strategy that I have. I'm done. I mean, it's fine, talk about stuff, but then what's the solution? And God bless America. God bless every single person on this space. I do appreciate everyone's point of view, and it helps me tremendously. So thank you.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Anyway, need to talk about solutions. I know John Lennon. Wheels go. What's it called? Watching the wheels. Excellent solutions. Interesting song. Anyway, man, oh man, yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. We have tons of distractions, so that's why we're covering so much ground. The feed that we get, the constant feed of follow this, hate that, fear that, do this, do that, buy this. It's just a constant feed. So let's not get it twisted, right? Put things in perspective. It's really imperative that you have some discernment of the only truth that there is, God. Anyway, everybody's got some spaces that they've promoted in the bottom, which is great. We always try to help each other out as far as conservative nature. I put on the top and in the bottom, if you're interested, there is a Bible study tonight. It's in every Tuesday night, starting at 7:30 Eastern. This Bible study, we're continuing on in the Gospel of John, so we'll be covering chapter 2 tonight. So if anybody else has got other, spaces, like I said, we've promoted them down the bottom, and we appreciate it. Everybody coming up and contributing. We're all trying to figure it out. If any one of us had all the answers, then what's the use of spaces? we're doing our best to work together and find the truth. Any last words from the people that came up? Because we're about done. Julie and Terry, thank you so much for stepping up today and helping out. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I don't know how much help I was. I was distracted with what's going on with our windows that we've been waiting almost a year to put in. It's been a big process. I'm not even going to get into it. But yeah, guys, a great space today. Just like everybody was saying, keep your head on that swivel, stay calm and relaxed. Just be aware of what's going on. I do look at President Trump as my barometer, and he's cool as a cucumber. Yeah, I know there's different scenarios, but you know what? I'm looking towards that, and I'm like, he's not getting rattled by anything. They are getting right into his face, and he's just like basically laughing at them. So it's going to be a rough road, and I think we've got this. We are engaged in our local politics. We're engaged in what happens within our own states. And there's a lot of people that are doing things about that. If I could just ask for one more big favor, and that's please go down to that purple bubble, like and reshare the space, because there was a lot of good information that came out today. People that are working might not be able to listen to this until later. It is also being broadcast on YouTube and on Rumble. If you please would go over there and just give it a thumbs up and get that on the algorithm too, that would be great. I would appreciate that. Have a great day, guys. Love you all and see you tomorrow. God bless America.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Joe, did you have something quick before I go to Terry and close the space here?
Very quick, actually. My theory about toxic synergy and toxic stealth appear to be working. My clients in Australia are halfway through the first protocol, and already they're seeing skin improvement. In theory, once they complete that protocol and one more, so 2 months out, one of them is going to stop taking Nattokinase and see if they have heart palpitation, which was their symptom. And it's simply removal of toxicants. And that's all it does. The body already has the cure for the shot, its own immune system. That's all.
Thank you, Joe. Again, just the little people know about their own bodies, and I always challenge everybody, learn about your body. If I ask you where your heart is, if you point to the left side of your chest, you need to go to work. There's so little that people know about their own bodies, and of all the crap that you put in your mind, maybe go with the one thing that you actually own, the only thing that you actually own your whole life, your body. All right, Terry, what's up, bud?
Bill wanted to know if you could say something.
Oh yeah, well, it's always a pleasure if we have our ex-president Clinton coming in here and talking. Well, is he next to you?
Yeah, I'm gonna hand him the phone. Bill, say so. Go on and say what you're gonna say. No profanity. So, been listening to your space, Truth, Julie. And I want everybody to know that I feel your pain. I do. When I ran for president, people came to me and said, "Will you be a uniter or a divider?" And I said, "A unite." People would say, "Here are my fears." I said, "I will ease them. Here are opportunities. I will seize them." I certainly seized it in the Oval Office with Monica, and I got impeached for it. I want to thank Apothecary, because when she was a young nurse, I told her I was thinking about using the devil's lettuce, and she said, "Just don't inhale." I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to this space. All contributions to CGI are tax deductible. We're not doing very good right now. That's it. God bless you, Truth and Julie, all the listeners and speakers. God bless America.
What a pleasure we get to hear from our ex-president 20 times. It's amazing he chose this space to come to. So anyway, give our love to Monica. I mean, Hillary. Sorry. All right. Well, Just to end the space, I could always try to say at the end here, don't sweat the small stuff. Just remember, everything is small stuff. Keep everything in perspective. Look at the micro and the macro. The end to the story we have, it's a beautiful script. It's called the Holy Bible. Guess what? God wins. You got to pick a side. It's good or evil. There is no in between. There is no gray, black or white. Trust me on that. If you don't know enough about it, then go read it and find out for yourself. Like Marlon always says when he ends his spaces, God bless you all. God bless America. Don't work too hard. I don't have the Jersey accent to say it well. Anyway, use guys, whatever it is. All right, take care, everybody. Think Marlon might host tomorrow, so we'll see. It's a mystery. It's either Marlon or myself. Thanks again to everybody for contributing and for putting up with this stuff.